Hi, my name is Buledi.
Hi, my name is Ukanyisile.
Hi, I'm Wikuto.
Hi, my name is Buisile, and we are
Rebasadi Mental Health Associates.
This is our podcast, The Mental Route.
Journey with us as we take psychology beyond the room.
Yeah.
Like romance.
Hi everyone, welcome to our first episode. My name is Wikuto Maubani and I'm here with the ladies and I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves.
Hi. My name is Buledi. The resident, I think we're all a bit loud in our voices, but ladies.
Yeah, my name is Buisile Mnina, and I am part of Re Basadi Mental Health Associates. I'm a counseling psychologist.
Hi everyone, my name is Ukanyisile and I'm also a co-founder of Rebasadi Mental Health Associates as well as a counseling psychologist.
Sweet. So I guess we're here together as the Rebasadi team. The podcast has been something we've been journeying towards for some time now, and we're finally getting together and bringing this little dream to manifestation. We've always wanted to have a platform to really have you feel our personalities, talk more fully on some important topics to us in and around mental health and all the different parts of life that connect to our inner wellness, whether that's work, that's family, that's friends, that's therapy, that's politics, all the things that influence our existence and how we relate with each other. So we're hoping that just from this episode and every other episode we have lined up for you, you'll journey with us down the mental route and just discover new things about ourselves, about who we are as a people, who we are as a community, and how we can just inform each other and make things better for each other.
Yeah, so for this episode, we're just going to let you in a little bit on who we are, what we are about, and the archetypes that make us who we are. We have different personalities, different worldviews, perspective, ethic, and all together we're just four black girls having fun.
Yeah.
So let's start. I guess I don't know if everyone has their own kind of idea of their own personality, what flavor you bring to the RB dynamic. If you've been following us on our Instagram pages, our social pages, you will have seen that we maybe are behind one or other post topics and things like that, but we really wanted to have an opportunity for you to get a full sense of who we are behind the scene. And maybe expose some little personality quirks that we don't often get to show off. Does anyone want to kind of expose themselves, give their own label, start off?
I think it was quite interesting, of course, putting this together firstly, having to reflect on who we are. There's always a sense of, kind of bouncing about everything that you think you are in a group setting, but I suppose when it is said to you, like, okay, I can resonate with that. That's quite meaningful for me. So I'll start it off, like I said, exposing Smolanyana skeleton.
Just a little.
Just a little. But yeah, we here, and I was tagged in a conversation we had briefly before this as the queen of soft life. I don't know what they're talking about, but I'll go with it. But I guess my ethic is quite clear. For me, one has to kind of just lean into living a peaceful and quiet life. Mind your own business, do the things that matter to you. And really, we're not here for a long time, we're here for a good time. So, kind of make it what it is. Trust the abundance, that things do come to you, and you should be freely willing to receive them. And also freely willing to give. I think once you kind of understand that as a vessel, if you're a giver, you do not lack. And I think that's what then sits with, probably being the one who's like soft life. Because for me, I live on the edge responsibly. But I always trust that things come back to me, and that's basically me.
Yeah, I'd say Bui always reminds us that we deserve nice things in the world, and we shouldn't shy away from the luxury of life
and charging.
Yes, and charging.
No suffering.
No.
And if anything, I think that's been an inspiration about know your worth, and don't be afraid to own that worth. I guess I'll go.
You're definitely
I've been tagged as the anchor.
Intika.
And I think that comes from just what is it? It's a workaholism. I'm always just working and being anchored in what it is you want to see come to manifest in the world. And not being afraid to devote yourself to your dreams, to devote yourself to your vision. In my other work, I think we're all psychologists. I do a little community work as well, but definitely very much about bringing people together for a purpose that benefits everyone that is part of that purpose. But I think it's secretly a dig at like, hey, you work too much. You're always active.
Of course. But I think you're absolutely right to say, wherever that you go, I think you have the capacity and the ability to just settle things in, give things a frame, give things a structure. And I guess our best hopes for you would be that you find yourself insulated just the same in many social spaces as well, that you feel grounded and rooted in the relationships that you have with yourself, with your creator, with us. And that's basically how we experience you.
Cute guy.
Take it all in. Okay, I'll go. So I was described as the parenting one, and the last born in me is just like, that is not me. But I take it, and I am a mom, so I think a lot of that was largely birthed when I birthed. So and the voice of reason. I think growing up in the area that I did grow up, I always say this, it comes with a lot of financial kind of access, kind of, very being mindful of that. So whenever we have conversations, I'm always like, guys, are we charging too much? So I guess that is where that comes from. And sometimes it does come in as a disadvantage, because now I'm selling things short. I'm selling myself short, the skills short, and that's why it's so nice to be in this space, because I've learned so much, and
with the soft life queen.
And with the soft life queen, it's like, so I had to unlearn a lot of those kind of things. And so the mommy in me will be walking you through a lot of conversations around, things like dating as a single parent, co-parenting, all those things, as in all things mommy, and
I want to say that the mommy thing isn't only when you became a mom. Hi, Lisa Kanya. Hearing this, but even before Lisa was born, you were like, yo, I know Lisa's coming. I'm a mom long before, But I think it's also just about your caring nature that has that feel of like being cared for.
For me, you'd definitely be the person I came to see, Nje, for all things. How do I lead a home? how do I go and say, hey, mama?
come through, girl.
I would definitely sit at your feet for that one.
Oh man.
Thanks, guys.
I'm Wikuzo. Apparently I'm a radical political one, but I could agree with some parts, and I still feel like that part of me is still yet to come. I think it's been quite mild. I don't know when it's full force what will happen, But I do take politics strongly because I feel like life is quite political. Whether you engage or do not engage, in some aspects, decision making policies will affect your life as an individual to some degree, whether you agree or not, or whether you're indifferent to politics. So that's what I remind myself of, that yes, we do believe that we exist because of higher power, and that can be from different belief systems as to why we are here as humanity. But ultimately, our life is governed by politics, and that's why it's always important to go back and challenge those whenever there's need or identified. But particularly leaning towards marginalized communities, I think that's where politics come in for me, is because even marginalized communities that Rebasadi is trying to work with and also empower is a political, it comes from a political stance as to why we have inequality in South Africa and so forth, and yet we can say that there's been progress since 1994, but it's not enough, and it feels concerning, I guess, when we move along as though everything is okay. So yeah, that's just me in a nutshell.
Yeah, Amandula, that's for sure. I think for me, when it comes to us taking psychology beyond the room, there's always, I suppose, because we're also professionals in our personal capacity, there is a sense of thinking within the frame of the room, and I suppose sometimes you come in and you're saying, okay, but let's consider the person who doesn't typically, have the resources to get access and privilege to psychology in the room. What about them? How are they thinking through? How are they sifting through? And I think sometimes you also remind us of the naivety that we tend to have because of our own privilege. It's like, you go and you enter into spaces, and we must have an understanding of the representations of ourselves and how we dress, what we come in with as, and how do we really become infused into the people that we're serving in such a way that there is no telling of difference. Although we do have knowledge in a particular way, but we understand that the greatest teachers are the people that we commune with. So I think that's quite meaningful.
And I think remembering that even though psychology in the ways that we are familiar with it seems like a neutral practice, that it's highly political, that it's a very charged kind of practice, and reminding us of the ways to re-enliven it with like what you're saying, with the energy of the everyday person, because that's what brings in those kinds of political perspectives that we sometimes shy away from, or we get accused of being being that black girl, right? Like
black
woman. The angry black woman, all of those things, and it's like, how do we embody that in a much more grounded and graceful way, without diminishing it from out of what it is. I think maybe an important question that people want to know about is like, why the mental roots? What do we mean by that? What are we hoping to achieve with that? What routes are we taking through the mental that we all hold? I'm going to put that out to you guys. I know I asked the question, I don't have the answer.
Of course. Why the mental root? I think in terms of, even in the kind of logo and representation that we used to kind of describe the mental route. Remember, when you're taking a route, sometimes the destination is known, sometimes it's unknown. But I think for me, when I think about it, is that you might have the end in mind, but it matters when you're going somewhere, journeying somewhere, and you're on this route, to actually, once you get almost comfortable and used to it, that's when you lift up your eyes and you kind of see what's around you,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because whilst you're still starting off the journey, you're thinking, okay, where do I turn? Where do I yield? And then when it starts getting quite clear, that's when you're like, oh, this is actually a beautiful place. And you start looking around.
Taking in the scenery.
You know, so I know for the audience that we have, as they get acquainted with the podcast, they'll have that, okay, where are we going? You know, what are we about?
Yeah.
Whatever that we're speaking about, there'll be the reason, the politics, the soft, the anchored. But I think once they journey with us for quite some time, they'll start to lift their eyes and look around. And they'll start to look at the people around them, start to have the conversations beyond the podcast. So that's what I'm kind of thinking and hoping for.
Yeah, I think that's interesting because it brings to mind, you know, our slogan, taking psychology beyond the room, and taking our audience with us on this journey, on this exploration, on what is beyond the four walls that we've come to associate psychology with. And to say that as much as we are in opening up the invitation to walk this route, we are exploring with the people that who are listening to this. We are in journey together. Some parts we'll know and can offer some wisdom or insight, but a lot of it is also like, what do you see? What do you want to hear about? What have you noticed along this route that you want to bring to our attention or to a wider platform of discussion? So it's really us connecting, growing relationship, trusting each other down this path of the unknown, as we map out a route that isn't traditional to the psychology as we know it, as we map out a route that is more, that brings us home to ourselves. You know, we always talk about heritage and the importance of bringing in our own wisdoms of ancestry and heritage into that, and inviting you to kind of walk that journey as well, and have open eyes to that.
I think for me it's also the representation. You know, a lot of mental health issues that exist in communities were spoken about by other people. So it's also a nice thing that we also, as 4 Black women, are sitting on this table having a conversation about issues that affect us as Black people. You know, having an audience and having them having access to such, and us connecting and speaking about issues that affect us from our perspective, for ourselves, and not having someone else, which I respect, and there's merit to it. But having it and owning our issues and speaking to our issues and trying to resolve them ourselves.
Yeah, I think that's a brilliant one, owning our issues, right? I think in pursuit of like Ubuntu and things, we kind of, we you know, especially as Black people, we tuck our trauma under the mat. We don't speak about it, and this is a place to kind of bring some of that out, in pursuit of making it more accommodative for our modern day living and life and challenges.
For us and about us.
Amandala.
That's for sure. Naomi, if you're listening, we really love you.
Maybe Naomi.
Kutso, for you?
So for me, I think is what Kanye mentioned, accessibility and the identity as well. When I say accessibility, I'm hoping that with this platform of Mental Root, we can share insights, share opinions, our thoughts, and in an unfiltered way. And, you know, it can make a difference for someone, be it by perspective, be it by change in their lives. So we hope that it also brings relevance to everyday life, and it can land on someone who really needs to hear something, or someone who needed to be challenged on something, but obviously in a constructive way and less attacking way. So hopefully it does bring engagement, and it does make some shifts in people's lives as we journey together.
Yeah, I'm quite excited for the journey, and I suppose I just want to say that I'm looking forward to the discussions we'll have, the people we'll host here, the interviews, the chats, the things we'll look at. I'm hoping we'll get a little spicy. That's my favorite. I'm hoping we'll get a little sentimental. And really just open up about things that don't always have a voice to be aired. So you can look forward to more of what we've been giving you, just a little bit more elaborate and with a little bit more punch, I think. Of just, for me, definitely a whole lot more reflection around how to show up in community, how to incorporate your heritage into your authenticity, and I think, like Kanyi's saying, kind of face ourselves in a real way and think about what that means for what we can do and what we can offer to our community. Great. Ladies, final notes of wisdom before we let our fellow audience go.
Looking forward to engagement.
Sweet. That means comments, likes, shares,
repost.
Do you know what I mean?
I'm looking forward to, like I said, the conversation, building dialogues beyond the podcast itself.
I think for me, my word is conscientizing, right? We've kind of let, well, in some part there's meaning and value, but we've kind of let social media run rampant with mental health in a very reckless way. And I think, having platforms and forums and spaces that really address what matters, and we can come to a constructive understanding, we can really hold people accountable, would be, quite meaningful. And for, all people of, different generations to kind of listen in and really come out with something of kind of substance and be able to tie in much. Because I think with social media, we get this influx of information and nothing ties it together for us. So we kind of start bouncing, in the walls and all of that, because there isn't that space or that platform where we can actually take it back to say, hey, I saw something on TikTok the other day, and what does this actually mean? And you have a space to be able to interrogate that. So, looking forward to the conscientizing.
Well, that is the first episode of The Mental Route. We're hoping to continue to journey with you further and further beyond the room and closer to ourselves. We thank you for tuning in and spending some time with us special bunch.
The Fantastic Four.
And we'll just have more laughs. That's something you can definitely expect from us. More laughs, more engagement.
Tears.
I don't know about that. I don't cry on the mic.
You know what's called street cred. Street cred.
Maybe a thug tear. We thank you for listening in. We hope to catch up with you again in the very next episode of The Mental Route, and peace out.
Yeah, we out.
Bye.
Bye.